All right, so welcome back, guys. So today we are going to be learning at bank reconciliation as for chapter 5. Today we're also going to go over chapter 6, which is going to be dealing with the reports that you can do and most importantly, our financial statements. But let's take it back and only focus on chapter 5. So today we're going to be learning about bank reconciliation. This is the easiest part of QuickBooks. Okay, when I say easy, I really mean it. It's really easy.
Yeah,
All right.
It sounds like they really do a lot for you.
They do. They do.
Goodness, I was really surprised.
And you
And
guys.
you only go access it with you just go to banking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're not there's 7 or 15 different ways to get there.
All right. Yes. Okay. Well. Okay, but for an example, right? When we were looking into accounting, so you guys actually got to look at it this way. You guys got to learn the accounting first, and then look at how easy it is to relate, but also to transfer everything that you've known from accounting and apply it to QuickBooks. Now, there are some students who do it backwards, where they learn the QuickBooks first, and then they get the accounting to understand the accounting afterwards. But I actually prefer that you do the accounting first and then understand, well, everything that you learned here. See, it does happen in real life, and look, you can do it in a click of a button.
Right.
All right. So this is bank reconciliation. Okay. So in this chapter, we're gonna go over an example of how to do a bank reconciliation. We're gonna be looking at what happens when we received bounce checks, or if we write a bounce check. Okay. We're also going to be looking at finding errors in our conciliation. So that goes before that. And then we're going to also look at a credit card reconciliation. So this is pretty straightforward. All right. And then okay, so bank feeds. All right. If you, I'm just going to go ahead and get it out now. If you potentially use QuickBooks to help manage your online banking account, that is what bank feeds is for. All right. If you don't trust your QuickBooks to have access to your personal online data, that's completely fine. Then bank feeds is definitely something you don't need to set up. Okay. That's bank feeds is only for online bank services. Okay.
Do most companies use that?
It really depends. I mean, for a small
That's a
business,
great feature.
it is a great feature, but it's also a very scary feature, because
Yeah.
ultimately you're making QuickBooks have access not only to your client's information, but they have access to your own bank information.
Oh, yeah.
So that's going to be that's a double triple threat to
Yeah,
you,
that's true.
especially if someone hacks your computer or does vice versa.
And then they do hack banks, that happens.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
The
So,
biggest ones even.
yeah, so that's what I'm trying to say. So, definitely,
Point.
you can use it, but for like for example, for me, I don't use any personal information. I don't even use a real tax ID number. I just use it just to make accounting easier for me, such as recording all the transactions I've occurred, and that's it.
Yeah.
But as far as like actual putting real personal information, that's where I do not use QuickBooks for that. But you can. You just have to be very, very, very extremely careful. Okay.
Right.
So here we're going to be learning about our bank reconciliation. So again, I've already uploaded the file or opened up the file in my QuickBooks already, so it's ready to go. But let's go ahead and look at this thing right here. So here we're going to be talking about bank reconciliations, right? Now, you can reconcile almost any account. All right, I believe it says right here that you could do any asset account, any credit card account, any other current liabilities account, any long-term liabilities, or even an equity account. All right, so you have pretty much a lot of flexibility, right? But it's especially if you have some form of a register, right? If you're if you have something to compare it to. So oftentimes, most commonly ones that we would be looking at and we would reconcile would be either the bank account or the credit card statement account. Okay, so those are just the two typical ones that you would more commonly see. But as the book says, you can actually reconcile everything and anything. And another thing too is we're going to be looking at inventory, and you do need to adjust it, especially if you are, not using, especially you're using other types of forms of methods to keep track of it. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at our bank reconciliation. So I need you guys to follow along with me on page 144. Okay, so 144 here is an example of a random checking account for Academy Photography, right? Here is an example of January 31st, 2019 bank statement. So here, typically you would see what your beginning balance was, what your ending balance was, how many total credits you've done, and how many total deposits you've created, right? Here it gives you a list of all of the transactions that you have. So here's all of the deposits that you made. At the very bottom is all of your checks that you've written. At the top here, top right, is going to be all your interest that you've collected. And then at the bottom here is going to be any fees or any additional things, such as maybe you took a withdrawal. Okay, and I want you to just go ahead and take a look at here and follow along here. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and show you on the screen here how to do a bank reconciliation. And it is, like Lee said, straightforward. All you need to do is you press the reconcile. Boom. That's reconcile on the home page, or you can go to the banking at the top of the home page and you could do reconcile.
Okay.
All right? Reconcile. Once I do that, it's going to pop up this little window here, and this is where your bank reconciliation begins. Now, the first thing is it's going to ask you, well, what account are you going to be reconciling? And again, when we talked about how many accounts you can reconcile, that's how many accounts you can reconcile. All of these assets, all these liabilities, and all these equity, right? But for today, I just want to only focus on my bank statement. Okay, so the first thing it's going to ask you is, well, what kind of statement are we doing for today? And in this case, we're leaving as it is because it automatically associated that we're dealing with January 31st, 2019 bank statement. And that's exactly what we're looking at. Now it's going to ask you, well, what is your beginning balance? So this is where it's going to ask you to type in how much you started out with. And in this case, you want to make sure that this number here matches your statement, okay, at the top of here. So does my beginning bank account balance my what I have in QuickBooks? Do I have $14,384.50?
Yes, I'm pretty sure it was.
Yes, $13,384.50. So yes, our beginning balances match, and this is very important that they match because that means your previous reconcile, right, for December of 2018. That means those you have done your reconciliation and they match as well. So you want to make sure that holds true and that stays true, and that has to match. If it doesn't match, then you have to go into the past to find why you have a discrepancy. Okay? Why that they don't match. But in this case, they do match. So we verified it and we're good to go. Now we need to physically type in, right? Because whatever we have in our QuickBooks is not going to reflect everything that we have in our current bank statement, right? All right. So typically you would type this in here just to ensure. So this is where we're going to take it from our book. so this is our bank statement, right? We're comparing our bank statement to the statement that we have in QuickBooks. So in this case, we're going to go to our a book to look at our bank statement and find the ending balance. And here, the statement balance as of January 31st of 2018 is $5,424.92. So 5424.92.
Okay.
5424.92. All right. Now, before even doing a bank reconciliation period, before even getting started with this, the first thing that you want to also ensure before doing all this is to make sure that there is nothing left in your current deposits. So right now, if you have undeposited funds, you should definitely check to make sure that they are deposited, so then you don't have to pull those money out. Okay, or when we look at the reconciliation, you'll understand what I mean. But yes, for this case, you want to double check that. You want to double check if you have any cash on hand, and if that's part of the business or not. And lastly, just anything like that, anything that's like that has to do with your banking. Whether you wrote a check, let's say I need to write a check right now, today, as of January 31st, make sure that this is the last thing that you do. Like everything that you've needed to be done is done. All your checks are deposited, all your checks that you have to write out are written. This is the last thing that you have to do on January 31st. Okay? So again, we typed in our ending balance. Now the next portion is going to ask you is going to be dealing with any charges as far as service charges. So, can you tell me, did the bank have a service charge?
Yes,
Yeah, they do.
How much?
$10.
10? Perfect. So we're going to right here type in $10. And it's going to be as of the 31st of January. And the account that's going to be associated with this is going to be bank service charges. All right? And how we're going to classify that is going to be overhead. Why? Because this bank is applied to both San Jose and it is also applied to both Walnut Creek. Overhead is kind of like a little category that deals with things that go beyond the scene. So things that go in the background, such as admin expense, right? All of those things that you have to pay your clients for, or anything that's dealing with the company in general, you would associate it as overhead.
Okay.
All right. So the next question is, was there any interest that I have collected?
Yes. I think they did. Yes, interest is here.
Okay.
$8.62.
$8.62, same thing, but here we're going to record this as interest income.
Right.
Okay, same thing, overhead, because it's dealing with. Okay, overhead. All right. Then the next thing is, okay, so then we're going to go ahead and click continue. Once you click continue, you're going to get this window here. This is where you're going to compare what you've recorded in QuickBooks, and you're going to compare this to the bank statement in the book. So this is where we're going to go down the line and we're going to check mark what we see that appears on the bank statement that appears here on QuickBooks. Now, to make it a little more easier to facilitate or to look at, you could also get to hide a few transactions that didn't occur as of January 31st, right? And you could toggle that by pressing this button right here. And it says hide transactions after the statement's end date. So that means our statement end date is the January 31st. So anything that has happened after the 31st of January, you want to hide it. And in this case, we have this right here for February 7th, and we want to hide that. So I'm going to go ahead and click this, and if you notice, it hides it away. All right?
Okay.
If you want to bring it back, you just unhide it. Okay, but in this case, I want to hide it. So this is, yeah. So now we're going to be doing our checklist to verify what we see on our bank statement and what we see that we recorded in QuickBooks. So let's go ahead and get started with our checks.
Okay.
All right. So tell me, which checks do you see appear on the bank statement?
In the bank statement, you've got check number 325.
325 right here.
Yeah.
And what you're going to do is you're going to check mark this box.
Okay.
All right.
326.
326. Now, let's pause there for a second.
Okay.
I want you to go ahead and look at the bottom over here. Now, if we look at this little bottom here, it's going to basically give you the amount that it gives you the amount that your current bank has. And by everything that you're checking off right now, it's going to decrease it. So right now, we have a difference of $8,216 because we already check marked 2 of them. Now, let's go ahead and check mark the next one. So what's the next one? Check number 327.
Yeah.
327.
All right. So if I check mark that, look. So let's go ahead. Look at what our difference does. It decreases it. So this one automatically updates and calculates it for you at an instant
Oh, as you're going along. Okay.
as you're going along. Yes. So here so as we go down the line. So what else do you see that's on the check for there?
6001 for let's see, what's it? $3,200.
Good. Okay. What else do you see there?
See, we've got 6003
6003.
for 142,
And what else?
and we got 6004 for 123.48.
Okay. And is that it?
That's it.
All right, perfect. Good. Now, you don't need to check mark everything because, just like when we did our bank reconciliation, the check hasn't cleared yet. So we have to wait till the next time in order to verify that. Yes.
Yeah, because that 8,000 didn't clear.
What about the 8,000?
Oh, wait, no, I'm looking at something else. Never mind.
Okay. So here, let's go ahead and verify our deposits.
So we've got on January 30th, we've got a deposit for $249.54.
Okay.
And then we've got also on January 30th, deposit for $19.50.
Okay.
And on January 31, a deposit for $1177.86.
Okay. All right. Now let's go ahead and look at the bottom. Do we still have a difference, or are we done? Let's look at the bottom.
difference is exactly the 8,000 that I guess that was withdrawn.
Withdrawn. We need to also include that, right? So we didn't include that. So now that we know that on our bank statement, it shows that we withdrew $8,000. So now I can go ahead and safely assume that I did withdraw this $8,000 here, because in QuickBooks, right, it doesn't tell you this is a withdrawal. It just says $8,000 is missing. All right. So here, now that we found out that that's correct, what do we notice here at our bank reconciliation?
We zeroed out.
We zeroed out. And that means we're done.
Wow.
Yeah. All you have to do, all you have to do is click reconcile now.
check 328.
It hasn't cleared out in the bank yet.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's, okay, all right.
Yep. So all you do is click reconcile now because we matched at 0.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's my computer thinking. There you go. Process done. So now it's going to give you this little window here that says, okay, you successfully, okay, I'm going to click okay. Now you're going to get this window here. All right. So it's going to ask you 2 questions. Would you like a summary or would you like a detailed report on your bank reconciliation? And in this case, I'm going to click both because basically it's going to tell you, well, what happened here, right? Here's my report, and here is, and I'm going to click OK. Here's my report for this one, for my summary, and it says right here, this is what happened. I verified that all of my checks and all my deposits are done. XYZ, XYZ. So that is my very first report here. I'm going to close that out, and here's my second report on the summary detail.
Okay.
Right, gives you details on what happened and what did you do. Okay, so that's it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yep, that's it. So remember when we learned that in chapter 9 or 10, I believe, where we had to go through all that stuff and fill out our forms.
Yeah.
Yep, this one you just need to take your bank statement and compare them, check mark all the values that you see, and that's it.
That's it. Wow.
All right.
It's easy.
Yep,
Yeah,
easy.
seriously.
So I'm going to go ahead and go here again, and I'm going to show you something. So what I can do is, let's say I found a discrepancy in my bank statement. I can always come here, back to the reconcile. So I press reconcile, and I have this button right here that says undo last reconciliation. And if I click that, it's going to pop up this window saying, okay, are you sure you want to undo it? I'm going to go ahead and click continue. Then you get this pop-up window, you can click OK. So now I did that. That means I'm starting all over from scratch. All right. This is just in case we need to find our discrepancy. Okay, so 542492. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and click continue. All right, so with this now, it's going to look a little different because I've already validated it beforehand. But this is just in case you do find a discrepancy, right? You can actually go back and dig in everything. So in case this one here, I didn't put in my bank charges or my service charges, right? But they appear here because I've already entered them in once before.
Oh, right.
Okay.
So you have to do that again.
Yeah, so you don't have to do it again. But it's definitely a good source just in case like you didn't do it for the first time, that it's there. Okay, you can always modify this, meaning make changes here to what accounts were affected and were not affected. And here is where we're gonna go look for our discrepancy, is via through the I mean, what I mean is like you're gonna have to go through it one at a time. Like maybe you had a deposited fund that you didn't deposit, or maybe you have XYZ, right? You took out a withdrawal, but you never recorded it. So yes, this needs to be 0 at all times. Okay, 0 at all times for a bank reconciliation to be able to work. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel this. So that is how you deal with bank reconciliations and how to find discrepancies. So again, in order to find it, you're just going to have to go through all your transactions like you would in real life, okay? You would have to go look through all your transactions. Maybe you journalize something. Maybe you need to enter in an adjustment entry, okay? So all of those are going to be considered ways for you to find your errors. Okay. Maybe the error was in the ending balance. Maybe you accidentally typed in a wrong ending balance instead of what it's supposed to be. Okay? So that is bank reconciliation for you. Any questions? Okay.
Oh, that was nice and easy.
Yep, nice,
Have to
sweet.
make sure you enter everything correctly.
Yes, make
As
sure.
you're going along on the daily, basis. And
Exactly,
there you
exactly,
go.
exactly. Now we're going to be moving into looking at bounced checks. Okay, so let me go ahead and scooch on forward. Reconciliation reports. Okay, so again, we got to look at those two reports that happens at the end after you've completed your report. So here, finding errors, which I've already discussed, there are two ways that you can look for them. It's either you use the locate discrepancy window, or you can go ahead and undo it and then re-enter it again. Okay, so make sure you read upon these ones because there are two different options that you should explore. But in this case, it's pretty straightforward. All right. When QuickBooks automatically adjusts your balance. Okay, no, we don't need that. All right, handling bounce checks. Okay, so again, we're going to be looking at an example of someone paying us, and they send us a bounce check. So let's go ahead and look at this example. All right. So here it is again. We have Mr. Bob Mason, and this is exactly why we make fun of him. Mr. Bob Mason, right, decides to send us a check for his invoice 2526 for $1,177. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. How do you find Bob Mason?
Go in the vendor section.
No, customers,
Customers,
Right.
yes.
customers center.
Good.
He's a customer, right?
All right, and let me pull up his profile. Let me pull up the screen there you go. Okay, so we're looking at Mr. Bob Mason. All right, here shows us no transaction. How do I find his invoice?
Let's see. It's on here.
Manage transactions.
Not manage transactions, no.
Okay.
Or transactions. No, that's,
No?
Your one just shutting out on me.
We learned this yesterday, guys.
new, we don't, no, I know.
Okay.
It's like,
Oh, is
it's
that
on
right?
the edge of my brain and it's like, I know it's here and I know we just did this. Wait a
Is this
minute.
the one where we right click?
Fiscal. No, this is where, remember we moved all transact, then all, and then this fiscal, and that's where we click right there.
Okay,
Yeah.
and we click all.
Oh,
Good job. Right,
There.
here you go, 2526. He made it, he already made the payment. Okay, so let's look at this payment. So he paid it using a check, but in this case, the check bounced, right? Our bank has notified us, error, Mr. Bob Mason's check has bounced, meaning he didn't have enough money in his bank, so therefore, it's a large amount of money, right? So what our bank did was, as all usual banks does, is it charged us a fee of $10 because we decided to put a check in the bank that bounced. Okay, so that means we get charged, and then Mr. Bob Mason's bank also gets charged because he wrote a non-sufficient funds check. Right? He didn't have enough money in his bank. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to record this as a bounce check, which is going to be at the top here record bounced check. All right. And I'm going to click that, and this little window is going to pop up for me right here. I'm going to pull it towards the middle so we can see it. Now it's going to ask you, well, how much did the bank charge you?
It's $10, I believe.
Yep, they charged us $10. Okay, as of not that date. As of what was it? January 2019.
Yeah, I believe. I need my magnifying glass.
I believe it. Yeah, it's January 31st of 2019.
January 30th, 2019.
Oh, 30th.
30th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right. Oh, that's when when he sent us the money.
yeah,
Okay.
that's what he said. Right, exactly.
Okay. So then here we need to have an expense account, right? In this case, the bank charged us money for this exact check. So they charged us $10 as of January 30th. Now, what class does he belong to? I think he belongs to San Jose.
Yeah, I believe that. Yes, San Jose.
Okay. Now, now the next question is, how much do you want to charge Mr. Bob Mason?
Yeah, say $25.
$25. Okay, you want to charge him that much. Your book says 20, but I get it. Hello, you sent us a freaking check for $1,000 and you don't give me 1 penny of it. I'm going to charge you an additional $25. So what this does is it's going to apply this to the invoice. And when it applies it to the
Oh, the book says
invoice,
20. Okay, I'm sorry.
oh,
I thought it said 25, but it's. I wasn't trying to be greedy there. I really thought that it said 25. I know the company I worked for, we charged $25 for NSF. So
okay, I mean whatever you want to do. Your book says 20. If you want to charge 25, you do you, girl. Okay? So in this case, I changed it back to 20 because that's what the book says. So let's just follow what the book says. All right. So we're going to charge Mr. Bob Mason $20. Why? $10 for sending us a charge fee to cover the bank fee, and $10 because that penalizes us. Because 1, you're paying your stuff late. 2, you wrote me a bad check. 3, I'm being mortified because you owe me $1,000 and I don't get a penny of it. I'm going to charge you $10 extra for that, and I'm keeping that in my pocket. All right, so that's why I'm going to charge him $20 for it. At least $10 goes to cover the bank service charge that the bank has already charged you for, and at least the remaining of the money can do whatever helps for your business. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and click next. Once I do that, I'm going to verify, are you sure this is for this check number? And this check number has bounced, and you can add this in there, blah, blah, blah. Yes, I confirm, and I click finish. Now, if you notice, his customer payment now has increased by another $20. Now, let's go ahead and look at that invoice that he was paying for. So he was paying for the invoice of 2018 4. All right. So let me go ahead and close this, and let's go ahead and look at that 2018-04.
above,
Yeah.
above that,
Oop, oop, oop.
above that one.
Oh, hold on. My QuickBooks is freaking out.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is going to be, okay, so the one above that, move over. Okay. And then if you notice, look here, it's been bounced. See, it even tells you. All right. So let's look at this invoice right here. Okay. So what you're going to notice is the invoice. Oh wait, then this is the bounce check. So we're gonna charge him an additional $20, right? But hold on, this isn't it. We're looking for the original invoice, which was for. Where's my mouse? That's the other one. This is for 401. Because what you're gonna notice is, where is it? So we're here for, I think it's this one. This one says general journal, okay? This, okay, weird, it's supposed to pop up. This never happened. This always happens to me. I swear. I know what I'm doing, okay? It's supposed to show up. Let's go click Mr. Bob Mason again and view all transactions. Okay, we're supposed to be able to look at his invoice for the 1,000. Okay, I see the payment here, but we recorded that his check has bounced. Okay.
Yeah, well, it does say it there,
Yeah,
the $20.
there it is, there. Oh, but yeah. Right.
Oh, okay. Duh. Okay, this is okay. I got it now. All right. Okay. So now, okay. So let's clear that out. Okay. So here we recorded his bounce check, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's done. That means he still owes us for the $11,000. As you can see, it has increased by $11,000 because he owed us previously for that amount of this is just piling on top, okay? And then so this is what's gonna happen. We're gonna say that this customer decides to pay us again. He just said, "Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to send you a bad check. Go ahead. I'm gonna send you guys a new check including the new amount that is supposed to be that you charged me for." So we're here. I'm gonna go ahead and click Bob Mason, or type in Bob Mason. Right? Now I'm gonna show up all of this. Now here,
Yeah, took out the 11.
yes, as you can see, so what he did, oh, okay, I see what he did. So he paid us a full check, right? The full check that he paid us for was to pay for the two invoices, right? So he gave us a combined check. Now in this case, because he's paying us again because he was supposed to pay for those two invoices. Now we're looking at here. Now here we automatically associate that he also has to pay an additional $20 on top of that. So we have 11 instead of 1177, it's now 1197. Okay? So this is for the total amount that he's going to pay us, and we said, "Okay, yes, we accept your check." What day do we accept it? Maybe he sent it in a couple days later because he said, "Okay, just wait till Friday," right? Friday, February 1st. All right. And for which amount? Well, he's planning to pay all of it off. He's planning to pay all of it off. His check payment amount is for $1197.50.
Yeah.
86.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I should be able to click this and this and this. It's not allowing me to click. Oh, there you go. 1, 2. Okay, there you go. All right. For a total of $1197.86. Okay. So so again, his original payment was to pay off $1177 for the two invoices that he was outstanding for. Now that we reversed the transaction, now he owes us $1197 because it included the $20 additional fee that we decided to tack on his bill. So now we send him either a new invoice, or he says, "Oh, I'm sorry," or we call him up and let him know, "Hey, Mr. Bob Mason, your check has bounced. So we're going to charge you an additional $20 automatically because that's unacceptable. So now that he's going to say, I'm so sorry, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and send you a new check for $1197.86.
Oh my
And here
gosh,
it
and we're
is.
going to take another check from him.
This time it's going to work, okay?
Oh,
So,
okay,
all
that's
right.
good.
Yeah.
All right. What was the check number for this one?
Oh, that was good. Just a second.
2538, I think is what it is.
2538. All right. So this time, this is the whole entire amount plus the $20 that he owes, that he is being charged for. And I can go ahead and click save and close. All right. Boom. I got the beep of approval. Now, if I, oops, sorry, I have hiccups. It's bothering me. Now if I go into, and I hit the wrong button. And then if I go to my record, as you can see, there's a little notification bubble on there saying I have one items in there right here. Here it is, and that's what happens when a customer writes you a faulty check and they write you another one. You just record it by pressing record bounce check, and that's pretty much it. All right. So I'm going to close my deposits over here since I'm not going to deposit any money in the bank. What? Okay, so now the next section that you're going to be also looking into is, well, what if you wrote a bad check? What if you wrote that NSF check, right? So what are the possibilities and what are you going to do upon when you write that bad check? And here are six things that you can do when you are actually writing a bad check. If they notify you, hey, dude, your check bounced, okay? This is what you can do. You can tell them, okay, well, decide what you want to do, what you like for them, for your vendor, to tell them to rip up the check and you'll send them a new one. Would you want to tell them to hold on to it, give you like a couple hours to deposit the money that you need for them to redeposit the money? But oftentimes, you're more likely going to see that they're going to send you a new bill because they're going to tack on an extra fee on top of that. So that's going to be the most common one. Now, you can also call your vendor and tell them, hey, sorry that I wrote a bad check, kind of thing, right? So make sure you understand these 6 things that you can do if you were to write a bad check, right? And common things that do happen is you would void the check, right? On QuickBooks, you would void the check. You would call the bank, tell them to void that check. So that means in case your vendor does try to attempt to deposit it again, right? You want to make sure that you break ties with that first check first. Send them a new check. Call the vendor and be like, okay, did you receive my check? Okay, you can deposit it now. Simple. Okay? And those are just one of the options that you can choose as far as that. All right. The next one is going to be reconciling your credit card statement. All right, here is your lovely credit card. Okay. And guess what? The steps to reconcile a credit card is the same.
Okay, that makes it easy, right?
Oh, yes. So here, remember when we press the reconcile button here? There's a drop-down menu on which kind of account you want to reconcile, right? Here, we're going to go find our National Bank Visa credit card, wherever it is. Visa.
Towards the top. It's towards the top.
There it is, yeah.
That's 22 down.
Yeah, just up just a little bit more, about 5 or 6 more.
About 5 or 6 more. Just give me like
Actually,
5, 6,
one,
7 more.
One's 4 from the top. It's 4 from the top.
three more.
There you go.
There you go. Thank you. Okay, National Bank Visa credit card here. This is the same exact steps, except the only thing that we would be looking at is what our finance charges are. All right, so again, here we're going to verify that our beginning balance matches. So does it match our credit card statement in the book?
Let's see,
21,
yeah, it does.
Okay,
21.52, yes.
okay. And what is our ending balance here?
The new balance, 184.81.
184.81. Okay, so that's our new current credit card balance. So right now, this balance here means that this is the credit limit that they gave us, or this is what we started off with. So right now we're at a clean slate. We've already paid off the whole entire thing. Now our new balance here is going to be, well, we made a few credit card charges here and there, right? Most common credit card transactions happen is going to be what? Okay, what finance charges did they charge you here?
Interest,
Oh, yeah, interest.
Interest. Yes. And how much interest did they charge you?
wow, $16.11 on that little
Yeah,
amount.
Exactly. And you would believe it or not, credit cards nowadays are anywhere up from 17.9% all the way to 28.9%.
Yeah.
Wow,
Uh-huh.
terrible.
The more that you owe, the more credit card, especially for those credit cards that give you cash or reward systems points back, they have the highest interest.
Wow, that's how they make it back.
They try to give you an incentive just to keep spending more, right? So you can try to get that reward points. But little did you know, you're actually paying a lot more into it.
That's right.
Yep.
Okay, so and then the date that this charge was for, was it the end of February?
Yes.
This was, yeah.
All right, for the end of February. All right, and what account am I going to associate this interest charge for?
Interest expense.
Interest expense, yes, and it is another overhead charge. Good. Now we can go ahead and click continue. So then it's going to pull up this list of all your credit card transactions. Which one do we see that is true?
Which one is true?
Or like what appears on your credit card statement that appears here in the QuickBooks?
Oh, let's see.
What they both are.
All of them?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
all two of them.
Okay. Don't forget we also have this side over here on how many payments we made.
Okay, there's 21.52. Yep, that's what it says in the book.
Okay. So here, when we're looking at a credit card reconciliation, right? The only difference between a bank and the credit card is when we're looking at a credit card, we're looking at how many payments we made and how many actual credit card charges we made.
Right.
Where the bank reconciliation, right? We're looking at how many checks we wrote and how many deposits we made.
Right.
So same difference, except this one is how many payments did we make to my credit card and how many charges did they make. And in this case, we selected everything. And look here, our reconciliation is complete because we are at 0.
0, yeah.
Zero difference.
Yep. And I'm going to go ahead and click save. And again, you're going to get the same exact things. Do you want to have you want to write a check to pay this amount off, or do you want to enter a bill for the payment later? I'm going to go ahead and select the second one. Okay?
Yeah, later.
Do a bill later, yeah.
Yeah. So another thing so here it pops up a window for you that says, well, what you're gonna do. Do you want a summary or a report on the information that you've done? And in this case, I don't. I'm just going to go ahead and close. So here, I have a bill already ready for me to pay off my credit card. or to set in so I can pay my credit card later on. But it's still going to recognize that that when I did my my credit card reconciliation is now since you received the statement, you're obviously at the same time going to receive a bill. So the question is, are you going to choose to pay it now or are you going to choose to pay it later? And usually I believe you have a month to pay the entire thing off. Yeah, net 30. Okay, here it filled in all the information for you. This is note what you can do is here is um, credit card bill for February, right? February, because this we received at the end of February, right? So that means if we pay this off in March, it's for the February bill. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and save and close because everything looks good. We have our total amount of $184.81, and we have all of this here. Okay. And I'm going to click save and close. Now, again, we've also looked at how to pay a bill as well as look at how we can do partial payments for a bill. So yes, you can actually pay obviously a credit card, right? Most credit cards, they give you a minimum payment. You're not mandated to pay the entire amount at once. You can choose to pay the minimum. And in this case, let's go ahead and take a look at our national bank a Visa credit card, right? We're gonna double click it and it's gonna pop up our register. And here it's the same thing. It's gonna give us all of our transactions that occur and the amount that you owe, which is for the $184. Okay. Okay, so right now it's 2:40, so we're good on time. So again, we learned how to pay the bill, right? We learned that even if you want to, you can pay a portion of the bill. Okay, so in this case here, we currently owe. Well, we didn't even pay the bill yet. Let me see. Where is my? It says I owe $0.
Yeah, it does.
We didn't even pay the bill yet. Oh wait, am I in the right one?
Yeah, I don't think this is.
National Bank Visa.
This is zero also.
Yeah, it sure does.
All right. Okay. Well, all we did was reconcile the bank. We didn't even pay. We didn't even pay the amount off yet. Let me see what happens if you do pay the amount off. Because it says that we owe $0. Our current balance is, so here we recognize that we did have a balance of $21.52, right? Here we paid it off with our credit card payment right here. This is a charge here and a charge here. So my total should be 183.
Well, up there it says underpayment, the 184, the 184.81 is listed under the payment.
Payment.
Oh, wait a minute, am I looking at the wrong? Wait a minute. What was our balance supposed to be?
Oh, okay. I see this.
Yeah, 184.81. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I see. Okay, I see here. That's why. Look, if you notice, all these transactions are out of order. They're not even in order. Yeah, see, we have the 28 here, the 28 here, the 31st here, January here, then the 15th, then the 22nd. Okay, so all of these are out of order. Yeah. Okay, so that's why. All right. But overall, it still tells us that our ending balance is 0, which is weird because it's supposed to recognize that we're supposed to have $184.81 to pay. We didn't pay it yet. But we did make an association, maybe because we put in the bill for it, but we didn't pay for it. So I have no idea. I'm telling you, I don't know why, but I don't know why this keeps doing this to me, but it's supposed to show you as is. Okay. Now, if I really wanted to, let me see what happens if I actually canceled that reconciliation right now. Okay. What if I say I go back and I say go back to my my national bank, this one, and I do undo this reconciliation and I click continue. Okay. So here I undid my, is everything okay over there?
Yep.
All right. So what if I decide to undo it? Let me see what happens now. Does our credit card tell us that we're still outstanding? This amount, National Visa. Nope, it still says 0. I'm so confused.
Oh, it is 0.
We didn't even pay the bill yet. Anyways, the amount's supposed to say that we're supposed to have $184. So here, right here, is if you calculate this right here, 133 plus 35 gives you, it should be plus the 1611 should give you 184.81. But in this case, it says it's 0. So I have no idea what happened to these credit card transactions here because this amount here is our payment. We paid the amount off, but it says that we paid too much off.
Yeah.
So now we're at 0. So I have no idea what's going on here, but it's supposed to say that it's supposed to be 184. And if you look in your book, it should say that same as well. It should tell you that.
Yeah, it says new balance 184.81.
Yeah, so I have no idea what's going on with my computer, but it's showing up that I have 0 balance when it's supposed to say 184. All right, and then again, if you do partial payments, you can again, you'd be able to, make a payment to as often as you want, however much, because ultimately, no matter where you're at, in the credit card, right? A credit card is an ongoing thing. It never closes out until you fully pay the whole thing off, right?
Right.
All right. So then you can enter the bill. You can make a partial payment or you can pay a full payment, right? But that's dealing with credit cards and how to pay them off, how to reconcile them. It's exactly the same as a bank reconciliation. And again, bank reconciliation and credit cards, they are generally the only reconciliation that you actually really need to do for a business. Okay. Then the last thing that we talked about was bank feeds. This only applies if you are actually doing online banking. But in this case, that's a little too personal for this section. Okay. So we reached the end of our book. Do you guys have any questions in regards to what we learned today?
I don't.
Okay. Here, let's go ahead and do the review questions. And then we'll call a break. All right. So select the best answers for each of the following. Number 1, okay? Ooh, this is a long one. Okay. When the beginning balance field in the beginning in the begin reconciliation window, all right, doesn't match to the bank statement, all right? You should. What should you do?
C.
C. Click locate disk. Yes. That is correct. You need to click to locate where that discrepancy is and find it within all of your files. You could have done a typo. XYZ. Great. That's good. Number 2. Which statement is false? Okay, so we're looking at the one that's not true. Okay, so A. You can enter a bank service charge using the enter statement charges. You can B. You can enter bank service charges on the begin reconciliation window. Okay, and that is true. We looked at that, right? Letter C. You can enter a bank service charge using a register transaction. Ooh, we didn't look at that though. D. You can enter a bank service charge using write checks before you start your reconciliation.
That's the one.
No, that doesn't make sense.
All right, so you think everyone says it's D, right?
D, yeah.
I think it's A, yeah.
No, I think so.
Okay, so the answer is actually A.
Oh, really?
So the question says that you can enter a bank service charge using the enter statement charges window. Let's go ahead and explore that. Where is this enter statement charges?
Oh,
Where do you see that?
I don't remember seeing that.
yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so it doesn't exist.
Yes,
That's the
exactly.
fourth one. Yeah.
Okay. Now what you oh, it's right here. Sent statement charges. Now, let's click it and let's explore. Can you enter in a service charge in here?
No.
Okay, so what this statement charges is, it's for your customers.
Right.
It's for charging
it's
them.
statement for- I see.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. However, B is true. C, let me see, what does C say? You can enter bank service charges using the registered transaction. Yes, you can enter that in manually through your checking register. Yes, you can manually do that. And then lastly, D, you can enter a bank service charges by writing a check before you start the reconciliation. Yes, you can. So that one, instead of charging you for your bank, you already paid it in advance. That's what D is, okay?
Oh, okay.
All right, so yes, you can do that. C, which of the, oh, okay, sorry. When you find an error, oh my gosh, erroneous, thank you. When you find an erroneous amount of amount on a transaction while reconciling, correct the amount by, how do you correct the amount? A, selecting the banking menu and then selecting correct error, or you're going to do B, you're going to double click on the entry and then change the amount to the correct to change the corrected amount of the transaction, or C, you're going to be selecting the entry in the reconcile window, then click go to and change. What does that say? Changing. Okay, D, perform.
B and C.
Okay, yes, it is D. You could choose both, either to choose to do B or you do C. Yes. So yes, you can double click the entry and be able to find it and change it. Again, yes, we looked at that. Okay. Number 4. Sorry, okay, so number 4, to properly record a voided check from a closed account, from a closing account period. Okay, so A, do you delete the Okay, never delete the check in the first place. Okay, so do you delete the check in the register, or B, do you make the check deposit on the current period and code it, or C, do you find the check in the register, select edit menu, and then select void, or D, do you charge the amount of the check?
C.
C.
C is correct, yeah. To void a check, that's how you void a check. Why are they talking about voiding checks in this chapter? We already looked at it in other chapters. Okay.
Yeah. didn't know the other chapters, right?
All right. Our last question here is number 5. Which of the following columns cannot be displayed in the checks and payment section of the reconciliation?
D.
Yeah, the payee.
Yeah, of course, you don't get to see the date. You don't get to see who. No, the payee.
Yeah.
You do get to see who you paid.
Yeah, you got check numbers and amounts.
Yeah,
You-
no,
Have the
you
name.
got, oh, wait a minute, we didn't see the class.
Yes, you didn't
Oh,
get to see the
right.
class.
Yeah, we did see the names of the,
Yeah, if you want a little quick
Yeah,
brief,
you're right.
yeah,
You're right.
if you want a quick
but we
Class.
didn't know what location it was for, so the
Right,
class.
right. Okay.
all right. So here, yes, you do get the payee person. It tells you right here you made a payment to Bob
Yeah.
Mason.
Ah, yeah.
You have the date,
Right.
you have the check number. I'm sorry, you have the date, you have the check number, you have who you paid make the payment out to, but yes, you don't have the class.
Okay.
Okay, you guys. Any questions into chapter 6? Chapter 5. We're gonna dive into chapter 6 after this.
Okay.
Yeah, that was straightforward.
Okay.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Okay. Well, right now, let me go ahead and pause this. Stop this recording.